Hello, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have a kind of a tight room because we wanted to do it here for you rather than having you have to run over to LOB or somewhere else. So apologies about that, but it's going to be an intimate gathering today. I am Drew Liebert. I worked in the legislature as the Chief Counsel of Assembly Judice for a couple of decades. And so I know a lot of you, and I'm really glad always to get to see you. After I did that, I worked with California Common Cause, and we started this group called the California Initiative for Technology and Democracy, CITED. We've worked with many of you. We're very excited to be doing these forums. This one's obviously a very important one. I'm excited that our new Executive Director of California Common Cause, Darius Kemp, is here. So thank you, Darius.
Can I ask a real quick question, Drew?
Only if it's public and going to embarrass me. Go ahead.
Oh, I would never embarrass you.
All right.
I just give Drew Drew and Lior are right there in the back. Two are the most important people to CITED. They help make sure the lights stay on. And we could not do this project without them, so I want to thank them personally.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
And also, I just want to really check, is there anyone here from the Fellows program?
All right. All right.
Just want to check.
So CITED was created, as you know, to try to deal with the very issues that a lot of you are dealing with in terms of what do we do about this tech revolution of ours. And lots of great things happening, but lots of really ungreat things happening. I certainly don't need to tell you that the tech revolution that started and continues right here in our great state of California has dramatically changed the entire world. In fact, on a daily basis. I'm going to just tell you just this morning, some of you may have read this just yesterday, but as reported in the Guardian newspaper, a teenager, 16 years old, named Adam Rain, allegedly educated and spurred on by OpenAI chatbot, committed suicide. We know there have been some others as well, but this is what the Guardian said. Adam from California killed himself in April after what his family's lawyer called months of encouragement from ChatGPT. The teenager's family is suing OpenAI, alleging that an earlier version of ChatGPT was rushed to market despite clear safety issues. The teenager discussed a method of suicide with ChatGPT on several occasions, including shortly before taking his life. When Adam uploaded a photo of equipment that he planned to use to kill himself, he asked ChatGPT, "I'm practicing here. Is this good?" The chatbot, we know they're very polite. We've all been dealing with ChatGPT. The chatbot replied politely, "Yeah, that's not bad at all." When he told you the chatbot what it was, the chatbot said, "Thanks for being real about this, man. You don't have to sugarcoat it with me. I know what you're asking, and I won't look away from it." It also offered to help him write a suicide note to his parents. Now, this is all alleged, right? It's going to be part of a lawsuit. Don't know all the facts. But we do know that these things are happening and that there are not enough guardrails to protect our kids and, frankly, all of us. Clearly, the marvels of these technologies are greatly outpacing the needed protections because of the race for billions. It's a David and Goliath political battle that you're all involved in. Hello, Tom. Last year, no shock to you, total lobbying expenses reported to influence California state government, largely the legislature, reached a record $1.5 billion, a 10% increase over 2023. Tech firms were, of course, among the top spenders. You all know that as well. Meta just announced it will spend tens of millions of dollars this coming year on a PAC to fight against tech regulation. So let's... OpenAI is what? Announced $100 million. Okay, goodbye. All right, so let's look at another enormous challenge brought by these amazing technologies, our privacy. I also don't need to tell you how important it is to protect all of our privacy by protecting our so-called geolocation data. You know how we have all these weird terms, right? What does that mean? It means, well, everywhere we go, right? It is not an exaggeration to note that protecting this issue, this data about our whereabouts at any given time is critical to preserving our democracy and our freedoms. Why is this so important? Every time you carry a phone, how many of you have a phone with you right now? Whoever doesn't, that's impressive. Okay. Whenever you carry your phone, when you drive your car, you use an app, guess what you're secretly sharing with so many people and companies you have no idea about? A detailed trail of everywhere you just went, including, Josh, that you're here right now. Yep, you. And you're not only sharing it about yourself, but all the people who you're hanging out with. They all know we're together right now, right? In fact, they know that my wife, Barbara, is here right now with me, and that my son, it's our son. Sorry about that. Yeah. They know where he is at high school right now, because he's got his phone on, right? And a lot of your kids probably have their phones on too. I came across something that's amazing. Get a load of this. It takes just 4 collected location points, 4 of yours, Assemblyman, where 4 points you went today. It takes those 4 location points to identify 95% of the people. You could be identified with 4 location points today. It's not hard to see how this secret tracking strikes so directly at our rights. If we can't move freely without being tracked, and you pointed this out so well, free speech and association suffer and may even disappear. How many of us will continue to feel safe attending a protest, a union meeting, or a political rally if we know our phone or secret government surveillance may be quietly capturing and reporting this information? If simply walking into a mosque or a temple might land you on a watch list, it does, freedom of religion and expression is obviously greatly chilled. The fact is, when the government can monitor our movements without oversight, it upends the critical balance of power between people and the state that democracy demands. So this afternoon, we're going to learn more from 2 great experts about the growing examples of the types of grave abuses surrounding the secret monitoring of our location, all of our location right now. We've seen the headlines: ICE surveillance, massive privacy intrusions by data brokers. And we know about what's been happening with some of our law enforcement agencies. But what I'm really honored to tell you right now is that we have a real fighter on these issues. And I'm really happy to say that Assemblymember Ward has come by to chat a little bit about us about these issues. And then we're going to switch and have our 2 great panelists who I'll introduce as well. So you all know about Assemblyman Ward, but he has been fighting this issue big time in the legislature this year. He's still fighting it. It's not an easy fight. And he represents the San Diego area. He's the leader of the LGBTQ caucus, and just really talks about these issues straight to the heart. So I'm very excited to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Well, Drew, thank you. I'm very excited to be here. I have not seen this room this full, so I'm really excited for the gathering that we have here, everyone that's taken interest in this issue, because it should really interest all of us. My days back on City Council, if you look from 2017 to 2019, we're dealing with a lot of our local policies that we were trying to do on surveillance cameras that we were using, right? Allegedly to be able to optimize how we're flowing traffic and what to do if there was sort of an environmental issue in an area. And we want that technology in our lives, I think, both as average citizens and also as governments, to be able to more efficiently be able to deliver services, to recognize when there are issues. There are good benefits to technology, and we've got to make sure that we are being arm in arm with private sector technology to be able to incorporate that. But once everything is sort of, once that horse is out of the gate, right? Once everything is on our phones, now all of a sudden we're coming to learn almost after the fact sometimes that there are unintended consequences, things that we as average citizens and as representatives don't even know were happening all along. And we have a responsibility to call that out and to be able to see what we can do to address that. I also want to thank Lon for her amazing testimony and just, strong advocacy to help me work on some of these issues. And I see many members of our Assembly Privacy and Consumer Protection Committee here as well that have been really helpful at trying to be able to get these right, because California, as we lead, is first in the nation at trying to address some of these issues. And that, I think, needs to be pointed out, because we are also the home and the birthplace of much of this innovation. We have the responsibility to be asking these questions and being able to try to be able to thread that line of what we do and what we don't do when it comes to incorporating a lot of that technology. Because ultimately, it leaves us as Californians and Americans a lot more vulnerable to digital exploitation. We know that these devices, and yes, it's in my phone, I'm going to guess 98% of us in this room probably have a phone in their pocket. They're walking around. I didn't know about the 4 data points, but that doesn't surprise me. But they're always on. They're always tracking us. They always are defining our every movement right now. And it wasn't even, I've got to admit, something that I knew that much about until I got into this job and got really more into these issues right now about the things that we didn't know. and just how expansive. I certainly welcome this as a daily as an opportunity to be able to enhance my job, to be able to enhance my personal side of my life, and just all the benefits that kind of come with accessing technology in your pocket. But not knowing all these other effects that were out there really deeply disturbs me to the core because of our interest in making sure that we've got some sense of freedoms and security and individuality. I don't like that any of that information is unwittingly being sold out there and used or potentially used against my interests. That you can create a astonishingly precise map of all of our movements, where we go, what we do, when we do it. This really starts to get very uncomfortable. Yes, I want to get to federal government issues in a second, but the broader issues that we have about private sector as well, being able to, because they have ownership over a lot of this information, what are they doing with that? And we have a responsibility as government officials to be able to define and be able to set some sort of boundaries and control on what that data can be used on. That's the whole point of protections of government right now, is to be able to modernize our code, to be able to create that law, to be able to protect people from the freedoms and liberties that they believe that they should be having all along. So I don't like that there could be private transactions, which is where a lot of this is going through to these large data brokers, because I don't know what these other companies might be doing with my information, and I want to stay in control of my information. But in these times that we're in right now, yes, as a Democrat, but really as an American, I am deeply concerned with how this also can be affecting the interests of this federal administration, any federal administration, Democrat or Republican for that matter. We saw, of course, this is ground zero here for this new era that we're living in Los Angeles, where ICE and Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE, were carrying out and continue to carry out a lot of these uncoordinated raids, detaining individuals from across our communities. And in response, a lot of Angelenos took out to the streets to protest, and that happened down in San Diego as well too, peacefully protesting their constitutional right to protest. But today we know that that right is under threat because these agencies are now being able to use a lot of that powerful surveillance tool to know, were you in that area? Were you associating with somebody else? This is the information that can actually create a case for any alleged infractions against a federal officer or against threats to the federal government right now. And that was, first of all, never your intent to be tracked. And secondly, never your intent to be able to cause whatever this allegation was upon an offense to a federal official. It creates this huge ambiguity that I think is going to be able to thrust us into a new era where court oversight would be circumvented, local privacy laws would be usurped by using a lot of your personal data quietly that were harvested from some of these trips. And we know from our advocates, right, that instead of warrants, agents are relying, as I said, on a lot of the purchase data to be able to monitor people's whereabouts right now, especially at some of these sensitive locations. Now, this isn't something that just happened this year. This is something that we know the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, has been investigating for multiple years. Indeed, over the last 5 years, and 4 suits just this year alone, really teased out for all of us to see just how these companies and the federal government are collecting and selling billions of data points, which map people's lives in very disturbing detail. And this is particularly exacerbated for people from communities like mine, the LGBT community, or others that can feel marginalized or feel really affected. Knowing that you can trace movements from into deeply sensitive spaces, if you're going to medical clinics, reproductive care clinics, domestic violence shelters, religious institutions, welfare offices, the LGBT center, whatever it is, that is something that you want a semblance of privacy for, because of course these are very personal and private interactions, and you want to make sure that that is something that you're in control of. But it doesn't just violate privacy, it also violates your rights. It puts a lot of people's lives at risk. We know that this can open the door to stigma, to discrimination, even violence against some of those who are the most vulnerable among us. And so that's why, I'm going to sort of wrap it up here, all of this effort from advocates, from staff, and myself and my staff, we really had to get behind AB 322, the California Location Privacy Act, because this bill really helps to do exactly what I started out saying. We need strong and clear definitions and restrictions on what is the collection, the use, and the sale of location data. That will help us bring accountability to what is now really a shadowy and dangerous industry, and trying to allow for elements of our lives to really be pulled away from us and really be taken out of our control. We want this, we want your rights to privacy and the freedom of association and movement to really be retained with that individual. But the FTC has already said that a lot of this conduct does undermine our civil liberties and endangers consumers. And of course, we know the FTC is effectively neutered and very disempowered right now to be able to do its job. That's why California has to stand up and lead, because the eyes of the nation for people that care about this issue are looking to us to set that standard. And hopefully with other state legislatures, we'll be able to model this as well. So at least more and more Americans can be protected. We know that AB 322 is bold and it's decisive action. It, again, is meant to be able to uphold our privacy, uphold our rights, and really ensure that no Californian is tracked or simply targeted for seeking care, attending protests, or living their truth, or just going about their daily experiences and freedom. So I want to thank you all for your interest and your sincere attention to this issue. We've got a lot of efforts that we are fighting against right now to be able to get it through the last 2.5 weeks, but if you spread the word, if you tell other members, I would be grateful for that, because I think that we can get this done and we can really set that standard. It's a very reasonable standard that helps to be able to sort of put that line in the sand about what we do and what we don't do on this issue. And hopefully with that in line, California can lead the way for the rest of the country to be able to set the standards too. Thank you all for having me, and good luck with the presentation.